We are going to do a full review today of CPAC 2023, the Conservative Political Action Conference happening in Washington, D.C., under the cloud of sexual assault charges against its organizer, Matt Schlapp. Now, Donald Trump closed out the speech on Saturday, delivering what I believe is his most dangerous and unhinged speech yet, closing out what is not only a deplorable conference, but a conference that really gave me confidence that Donald Trump is still in control of the loudest wing of the Republican Party, and he is the candidate to beat in the 2024 Republican primary. After everything that's happened, after everything we've been through, his presidency, losing in 2020, spending years claiming it was rigged, announcing he's running 2024, all of it, Trump showed up and gave one of the scariest and most delusional authoritarian speeches that he has ever given. And that is saying a lot because he's given, hundreds, thousands of these speeches, impossible to fact check, hundreds of lies. Why Trump swollen? We never know. His right eye almost completely swollen shut, going a nearly 2 Castro-like hours in length. A couple of glitches. It wasn't the glitchiest speech, but Trump stumbling once again with United States.
The racist Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, who is presiding over one of the most dangerous and violent cities in the United States.
The United States, and Trump continuing to struggle with states, later calling them spates.
Wonderful, beautiful day. And I'll challenge the governors of all 50 states.
That's right. If you are currently governing any of the states, Trump is coming for you. One other funny moment before we get into the scary part, the speech briefly interrupted by someone playing really loud music, and then protesters started to boo.
Our country, people.
I'm sorry. Trump's fans started to boo the guy playing the loud music.
People that love our country have been so great on that issue. And the perverts who use the names of Washington and Lincoln to buy millions of dollars in ads, to say bad, libelous, and incorrect things about us.
So Trump yelling over the music and the people yelling at the music guy. All right, so a couple funny moments, but then it got very scary and very dishonest. Just a sampling of lies. Donald Trump said that while he was president, he finished some wars, which I'm not aware of Trump ending any wars.
The only president in modern history who did not have any new wars, no new wars. I finished some old ones.
Fact checkers unable to find any wars that Donald Trump finished. A big theme of the speech, Trump going hard at Republicans, of course, going after the leftist, Marxist, communist, socialist, of course, but going very aggressively against Republicans, signaling this is going to be a disgustingly chippy and dirty primary. Here is Trump calling out Mitch McConnell.
And, you know, we all want to see success, but it's far more important to them than it is to us because of that location. We are never going to be a country ruled by entrenched political dynasties in both parties, rotten special interests, China-loving politicians, of which there are many. You listening to this, Mitch McConnell? Are you listening?
And the crowd liking the Civil War friendly fire.
And a militant left-wing news media that's either frightened of telling the truth or is truly evil and bad. I don't know.
Yeah, Trump doesn't know. Trump then spending more time going after Jeb Bush and Karl Rove and Paul Ryan. A lot of friendly fire here.
When we started this journey, a journey like there has never been before, there's never been anything like this. We had a Republican Party that was ruled by freaks, neocons, globalists, open border zealots, and fools. But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
And Trump is honest in the sense that if he is going to have a shot, the Republican Party can't go back to Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush, because if they did, Trump would be out on his ass, quite frankly. Donald Trump seemed to suggest that he really believed many of the people who back in 2020 told him, listen, you're going to be back in the Oval Office in 6 weeks.
Less. Used to say 4 years. A lot of people said, well, sir, the election was so bad. You'll be in 1 year. A lot of people in this room, you'll be back in 6 weeks, sir. But it's a bad system in many ways.
Yeah, it's a system that doesn't have a process for reinstating a president after someone else has been president for 6 weeks. That's what Trump is bemoaning. We've got a bad process. You know, people came to me, sir, they said they were crying. They said, sir, you'll be back in 5 weeks, Biden, so bad. And then our system wouldn't allow it, Trump found out. That's right. We don't have a system. We have a line of succession that goes from the president to the vice president to the secretary of state and then on down. It doesn't actually, Speaker of the House, it doesn't actually go to the guy who lost the last election. That is true. That is not the system that we have. Trump then talking about the wall, and this is the moment at which Trump's sanity was most questioned. Trump seems to say that they hid the wall. Biden took the border wall with Mexico and he hid it somewhere so that it wouldn't be used.
The wall was sitting there waiting to be installed, the easiest part. And Biden, they took it away so that Texas and Arizona couldn't use it. Texas and Arizona said, could we use that wall? We'll finish it right up. And they said no. And they actually took it away and they hid it. They put it in a hiding area, which of course was revealed pretty quickly. All you have to do is send a couple of helicopters up.
That's right.
But they wouldn't let them use it. Under my leadership.
What on earth is this guy talking about? They hid the wall. They moved the wall and hid it. But then with some helicopters, Trump figured out where Biden hid his border wall. This is delusional stuff. I can't think of a charitable interpretation of what on earth Trump is talking about. Then Trump, using really strange language, talked about baby bonuses. Now, there is actually a policy connection here. Let me first play for you the deranged insanity that Trump said, but then I want to say more about it.
Challenge the governors of all 50 states, to join me in a great beautification campaign. We will rename our schools and boulevards, not after communists, but after great American patriots.
Right.
We will get rid of bad and ugly buildings and return to the magnificent classical style of Western civilization.
Wow.
We will support baby boomers, and we will support baby bonuses for a new baby boom. How does that sound? That sounds pretty. I want a baby boom.
So what's interesting about this is, on the one hand, it's very reminiscent of Hitler's Mother's Cross, which was a program to encourage Germans to have kids. But on the other hand, there's this thing called the child tax credit, which Joe Biden and Democrats would like to make permanent, a higher tax credit for children, which in a way is kind of what Trump is talking about, although the child tax credit isn't to encourage people to have children. It's to provide financial support for those who do. But Republicans are against making that permanent. So it's all just a weird mishmash, sort of a verbal ink blot test of sorts. Trump also taking shots not only at Republicans, but at Fox News during this deranged speech, which, by the way, carried the speech.
Not too good. And we actually, and I have to say this, I hope Fox doesn't turn off, but we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016.
Right.
Much better.
I mean, you didn't, but...
But we have no choice.
Not in the sense that you lost, anyway. Donald Trump again reviving this idea of sending people addicted to drugs and who just are homeless to tent cities, sort of like camps of sorts. Remember, they would always accuse Barack Obama. He's going to send you to a camp. Trump quite literally is saying that's what he wants to do. Take a listen. Oh, no. Looks like this particular clip may be glitching. Let's see if I can fix that for my audience here. I do believe that I can. I have confidence that I can. Here we go.
Leadership, we will take the homeless, drug addicted, and severely deranged, get them off our streets, and create 10 cities where we will get them the help they so desperately need.
Right. And the crowd reacting pretty positively to that. Trump also wrongly claiming, by the way, that so-called foreign mental institutions and, quote, insane asylums are being emptied into the United States. That's not happening, by the way.
They're emptying out their prisons, and you've heard me say that, but they're also emptying out their mental institutions. And
what?
To use a strong couple of words, insane asylum. Insane asylum, that's where, anybody see Silence of the Lamb? That's where they come from.
Silence of the Lamb has been emptied. Basically, undocumented immigrant versions of Anthony Hopkins are just being released into the country. None of that is going on, just so people know. Trump at one point asks whether anyone has watched TV.
Hey, everybody, you ever see television? You know, it used to be, we'd build our military, we were proud of it, we'd be doing all things, would be, all you see on thing, investigation, investigation, investigation. Now, with that being said, you got to look at Hunter. I mean, how crooked is that deal? But
right. No, and often going back to the topic of Hunter Biden, and then Donald Trump talking about, with really, really strange language, how he is the retribution. He is now talking about retribution and revenge. This was maybe the most dictatorial moment of the speech, other than like 40 other moments that were almost as dictatorial.
In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior, I am your justice, and for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
I don't even think Trump knows what he's talking about. He wrote something people told him, but it's really, really scary dystopian stuff. Trump at one point on a very strange word salad about oil and gas and electric vehicles.
We have oil and gas, but we don't want the oil and gas cars. But we want everything, including electric cars, but we also want gasoline because the cars go longer.
Oh.
And they're preferred by many people.
Pretty crystal clear position, huh?
We don't like quick drives that are stopped for 2.5 hours.
Yep. Trump is not pleased with the range of electric vehicles. And then Trump bringing out the L word, lynching, saying that they are looking to lynch him. Of course, he is the ultimate victim, as many of you know. And unfortunately, another very glitchy clip here. I don't know what is causing these glitches. And I hate to ever be unprepared for my audience. But a couple of glitchy clips here. Let's continue.
Amazing. What the hell did you get me into?
Yeah.
I didn't know the word subpoena. I didn't know the word grand jury, those words, grand jury. I didn't know that they want to lynch you for doing nothing wrong. I didn't know they want to lynch you for doing a great job. I didn't know they want to put you away because your poll numbers are better than anybody they've seen in years.
Yeah, Trump's best poll numbers. So a few thoughts about this speech. Obviously, Trump telling hundreds of lies, delusional, dangerous, authoritarian. One notable thing from Trump's very long speech is that while he did attack Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and Karl Rove and Jeb Bush and rhinos, he didn't overtly go after any of the 2024 Republican contenders or would-be contenders. Like DeSantis, he didn't even allude to DeSantis in this particular speech. That's interesting and unclear what the strategy there is. Trump did make claims that CPAC was packed. Trump's speech was the most full of any of the events, and it was only about 85% full. Many of the other events very much empty. And then another thing is the crowd really didn't seem that energized. NBC News' Benjamin Goggin tweeted a picture and said, as Trump's speech bleeds over to the 1 hour mark, a notable number of people are filtering out. Matt Gaetz slipped out early, shaking hands in the aisle. Energy tonight is much sleepier than last year's Trump CPAC speech. I am increasingly convinced that Donald Trump as the Republican nominee is the best thing for Democrats, particularly after seeing this speech. I will talk more about that tomorrow. Let's now move on to a few other things. As many of my viewers and listeners, of course, know, I have many family members who work in the field of mental health. And I think one of the most important things that we can do is to both increase access and reduce stigma when it comes to mental health services. And that's why I am thrilled that one of our sponsors today is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it is 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists, an important word, therapists, who can help you with a wide range of issues. You answer a few questions about your needs and your preferences, and BetterHelp will match you with a therapist that meets your needs. You can then talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable. Could be text, could be chat, phone, video call. You can message your therapist anytime. You can schedule live sessions when it's convenient. And if your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but it's on your schedule and it's at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Pacman. The link is down below.